So in this part, we are going to create the portfolio page. Right now, when we click on portfolio, it shows nothing because inside the code for portfolio, we have nothing, right? Now, what should happen? First of all, we must have the same header and the same footer, right? And then inside it, we must have, let's say, different sections. Okay, I want you to do this before I show you as a practice. Then I will show how you can do it, right? By practicing, you can get better at this stuff. So what we want to have at the top, we will have the header, right? Then under it, we will have, for example, some title with short description. Then we will have a section for example, interior design, okay, interior architecture. And then under it, we want to have different projects, okay, which we have an image. Under it, we have the name of the project, maybe the year for the project. And when we click on each of these, it will jump on another page connected to that project. And then under this interior architecture, we will have another category, exterior architecture, the same style. And at the bottom of the page, we will have the footer. So I want you to pause the video right now, okay? Go to your ChatGPT and do your best to explain whatever I told you to create a portfolio page. It's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be as exactly as I said. It doesn't need to be exactly as I explained, okay? Do your best to create this page on your own. As I said, by practicing, you can get better at this stuff, okay? Do your best to complete this challenge, and after that, we will do it together as well. So pause the video. All right, so let's do it together as well. Let's come here and explain to ChatGPT what we want to happen. All right, so let me explain what I wrote till now. Now let's go for portfolio page and write the codes for it. First, I want you to use the same header and footer. So the header and footer is the main thing that we should take from the homepage that we built before, the header and the footer, right? Then I mentioned that then under the header, maybe we can have a title with some explanation about architecture. I mentioned that write, yeah, let's come here, close the parentheses, write some dummy content yourself. Then we must have two sections, one for interior architecture and one for exterior architecture. Now, the reason that I want us to have two sections here, because I want you to practice this, okay? And see how we can build such content using ChatGPT. So I mentioned that for each of these categories, I want you to write a title. Then under the title, we should have different related projects. We can have different rows, which each can include up to 3 or 4 projects. For each project, I want the related content inside a box or container, okay? Something like this. You see here, we have a container, right? Inside it, we have a text. And then I'm also mentioned with rounded corners. You see here is also rounded corners. At the top of this box, we must have a thumbnail image for that project, okay? Same as here, we have a thumbnail image, okay? And then we should have a title, right? Where is it? Image. Then the project title under the image, and then a short description under the title. Then I mentioned that whenever we hover our mouse pointer on each of this project, we should see a backlight, and it must be clickable. And when we click on each of this project, it should take us to the connected project. Same as here, but here it's not clickable, right? When we, for example, hover our mouse point on a specific project, it should, when we click on it, it should jump on that page, right? And we can come here and mention how the folder structure should be. For example, we can have a specific folder for each of the projects, okay? All right, so I mentioned that each project can have different resources. So when you are building the links, remember to create uh, a folder for each of the projects, right? And also show me how I have to create the folder structure and what I should name each folder for each project, okay? So the main task is to write the codes for um, the portfolio page, okay? So let's submit our prompt and see the result that ChatGPT will provide. All right, so as you can see, it's not writing all of the codes. Here, we have the header here. It mentioned that the header that we had previously, we have to copy and paste it here. It's okay, we have it, but this is the part that I wanted ChatGPT to create, okay? It's not creating it. And for that, I want to provide more information so ChatGPT write all the codes here as well. It was writing it separately, but I want it to be all together. So let's come here and let's edit the prompt. Okay, I mentioned that write all the HTML codes at once. And for each category, create between 3 to 6 dummy projects, okay, dummy projects with dummy content. So let's save it and see the response of ChatGPT. All right, somehow it's resisting to write the whole code. Anyway, we can do it as well. So let's copy and let's continue. Okay, here was the structure. So let's copy the HTML code it wrote inside portfolio. And here it added some style. Don't worry about it. Let's come here. We need to add the header. So let's go to our HTML file. Here is our header. Let's copy and paste it. Let's go to our footer. And let's copy and paste footer as well. Okay, so this part is ready. Let's load our website and see how does it look. All right, it looks like this right now. We have the content, but the style doesn't exist yet. Let's come here and see if provided. It didn't provide, okay? So let's tell ChatGPT to write the CSS code as well. Right, I mentioned write the CSS code to style the project cards the same way I explained in the previous prompt, okay? As I said, when the project get big, right, and we want to complete multiple tasks in one prompt, ChatGPT make mistakes, okay? To start to forget things, right? So it wrote the codes for CSS, and let's come here, copy the code, go to style.css and paste it here. Let's save it. Let's come here, refresh. It looks much better, but I don't like it, right? It's not what I want. So we need to work on the style. Let's go to home. Okay, it doesn't go to home as well. It's home.html. It should be index.html, right? So let's go back. We can come here and make the changes for the header as well. This should be index because ChatGPT doesn't know what we named it. So let's come here to the header and change home to index, right? I just changed it to the name that we have in both of the headers. So when we come here and we refresh it, when we click on home, it jumps on home. We can tell ChatGPT to create the same style as our services. So let's do that. I'm going to come here and change the prompt that I just wrote. Right. So I mentioned that use the same style and the same color you used for services section in our homepage. You can see the codes below. HTML. Okay. Let's paste the whole index.html. And then, where is it? Let's write down CSS and paste the CSS code. Now here, let's remove the previous part we just copied and paste because we are changing the previous prompt and this code was coming after it. We shouldn't have it. Let's remove all these parts and let's copy the whole CSS code and paste it here. Save it. All right, it's complete. Let's copy and paste this CSS code. Okay. Now this is for projects. Okay. We shouldn't copy and paste it on all of the codes that we had before. We should add it at the end of our CSS file. So it only wrote the CSS part, and let's come here. Let's refresh, go to portfolio. Okay, it's much better, but still I don't like it. It needs to be improved. Okay, so on the next lesson, we are going to improve the style of each part separately. Okay, so that was all for this lesson. You can download the source code from the resources of this lesson as well. So see you on the next part.